Hi, and welcome back to week 13. This is our final in the plan series of just addressing different aspects of your health. My name, of course, is Mandy Johnson. I'm a physical therapist and an athletic trainer. And then next to me, I have Miss Tammy Miller. She is an expert in all things nutrition, biochemistry, all those really smart people things and gives us great information on how we can really tune different aspects of our diet and nutrition, and how we can think about those different parts of how that plays into our health. So our last topic for this series is mindfulness. And this is a topic that I really enjoy. There's a lot of different things that come into mind when we bring up the topic mindfulness. And most of the time you think of some sort of yogi or some person that's too in touch with their feelings, that's talking about let's be mindful. And the truth is that it doesn't always have to be seen as that much. As last week we talked about, self-care is not something that you have to go to the spa to experience. That's just taking care of yourself throughout your life. Mindfulness is just being aware of how your body feels, and also releasing tension in different areas, just being aware of how your body moves. That could be into a squat, really, like just being very present in the motion of a squat or a deadlift. Going down, being very aware of where is my back in space, where are my hips, where are my knees, where are my toes, making sure that you've got all those different segments lined up. And that's being mindful about how you're doing that lift. Often I use mindfulness training in reaching and dealing with some of my chronic pain patients. A lot of them haven't taken time to really allow their body to relax. They're just stuck in a chronic state of tension. Often with those chronic pain patients, they've tried a lot of different techniques, meaning maybe surgery or injections or opioid medications to get rid of pain. And a lot of them just have a significant amount of fear and overall body tightness, tension that they're holding on to. And often, and we can see this through research studies, actually really cool research studies, where we'll have someone do a motion. It could be just like a little hip rock or like lifting your hips up while they're in a functional MRI. And there are different areas of the brain will light up. Some of them are pain and others are not supposed to have anything to do with pain, but in the chronic pain brain, their whole brain is overactive. And then we'll do some kind of mindfulness training combined with a different technique called cognitive behavioral therapy, basically just trying to decrease some of your fear with movement and allowing your body to just move. Right? Decrease that fear, decrease that tone, decrease that tension. And it immediately shows up in the functional MRI. Like they don't have nearly the amount of brain activity all over their brain as they did when they do the exact same motion. And we're talking like 30 minutes. We're not talking like, oh, we took someone through 6 weeks of training and, this is what we were able to accomplish. I'm talking like 30 minutes of just one-on-one. Let's work through this together. Let's, let's see how you can move, how you can change. Let's do this together to be a part of this journey together. So that idea that you're thinking about it, you have that camaraderie, and you're going through that motion. It could be similar to that squat, but it's really important in this time frame that we get away from those things that don't allow us to be mindful about what we're doing with our bodies. And so the things that don't allow us to be very mindful are anything that really involve electronics for the most part.
Okay. You mean all of our lives?
Yeah. So it's about giving your brain that space and that ability to think. So you don't do it when you're on your phone. Right? We don't do it when we're on your phone. You can't. People say they can multitask. You can't really. That just means you're doing two things pretty subpar.
Agreed.
Plenty of research out there to show that one. And you you're not doing it when you're watching TV or there's any other type of electronic input. You can't do it well. You don't walk into normally like let's just take a Pilates class, for instance, and you don't see them blaring different like MTV shows or any Kardashian TV shows or like those horrible housewife shows. Like they're not, those aren't on, like regardless of whether or not you watch them on your off time, those aren't on. They're there because you're in the moment, you're exercising, you're allowing your brain to connect with what you're doing with your body. Same thing in a CrossFit class. Like you don't see the TV going, and they might have some music, and that's reaching a different part of your brain. That it's allowing you to have that time and that space to really think about what you're doing and connecting with the emotions you need to be going through. So that's really imperative that we take that time to do that for ourselves, for our brain, and then for our bodies too. That you're intentional about that short glimpse in time that your brain is getting. So from an exercise perspective, that's what I really feel is important for mindfulness. You can see it in multiple different aspects of exercise. It doesn't have to be just in one particular class. It could be in your run or your walk, CrossFit, bar, Pilates, all those. You could have that time, but it's that intentional time away from electronics that allows you to really connect with what you're doing.
Nice. I like that, connecting with what you're doing and what your body is doing. I definitely have noticed I've done, some gyms where you have a treadmill and you have the TV that's attached to the treadmill.
Right.
And, you don't know what you're doing. All of a sudden you're done. You're like, oh yeah, I just ran X number of miles or steps and I haven't really paid attention to anything that I've been doing. So I do like that it's the cutting off from those electronics, which is nice. And then that plays right into mindful eating. A lot of us eat in front of the TV or even at restaurants. Now, how many restaurants have TVs all over the place? So you're not actually being mindful with your food. You're not being mindful with the people you're with. You're looking behind them at the screen that happens to be 10 feet behind them watching that. And that, I'd never thought of that's actually something that's not being mindful when you're eating. And, with eating, we a lot of the times are not mindful when we eat. If I ask people, and I do this all the time, how many times, Mandy, did your mother say you should chew your food before you swallow?
Often,
like 20 to 30 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
How often do we realistically chew our food?
As adults?
As adults while feeding your children, or, even like when we were in school, or not real well. 2, 3, 5, if we're doing really well. Most of the time we just inhale. And that is not mindful eating. And when you do that, first of all, you're not enjoying your food. And I know both you and I are definite foodies, definitely like our food, definitely want our food to taste good, but we still don't sit down and enjoy it as much as we normally would. And one of the things that happens is you eat more, you don't pay attention to what you're eating. And the reason we want to chew food, there's actually a couple of reasons for it. When you're chewing food, you're increasing the surface area on that food, which is making it easier for the enzymes in your stomach, and which are a couple. You've got hydrochloric acid, you've got pepsin in your stomach to break down proteins. But in your small intestine, that's where all of your food gets broken down into those nutrients that you absorb, that your body needs. And when you increase the surface area, it's easier for your body to break that food down. You get more nutrients out of it, and you're not stressing your body as much. And so there's a reason that there's an old wives' tale that you should be chewing your food 20 to 30 times, because it makes it easier. You don't get indigestion as much. You don't get that upset stomach, and you get more nutrients. The other thing is we actually have chemicals in our saliva. We have a salivary amylase called talin, and that's with a PT, ptyalin. So it's called talin, and it breaks down starches. And we see children break down starches. We know it works because one of the first solid foods we feed kids is crackers or cookies. And what do? They just sit and drool on them until they disintegrate in their mouth. And then they're like, wow, this is really good. I want another one. As that's breaking down, it's actually breaking down the starches into smaller, not the smallest, but smaller carbohydrates like dextrins. And it actually changes the flavor of the food. And if you sit with your food and you take a bite and you chew it slowly and you chew it a lot, you'll notice the change in flavor of that one bite of food. As opposed to before, it was just one flavor. You put it in your mouth and you swallowed it, and hey, that was great. But you can actually enjoy your food more when you're chewing it more slowly, and you get different flavors that come out throughout that 20, 30 bite, that you're chewing it. And it makes it actually more enjoyable. And, unfortunately in our lives today with everything that we do, sometimes it's hard. And I notice I do this the most when I'm traveling. I'll have a book with me. I'll sit down at a restaurant, or I'll sit down wherever I am, and I'll pull out my book and I'll start eating. And first of all, I eat significantly slower. I can be at a restaurant for an hour eating a meal, and I enjoy it more. I get full sooner. I end up taking some of it home in a box with me. So I'm eating less and I'm enjoying it, and I'm getting flavors that, a lot of us, if we sit down and do something like that on a vacation, we're thinking, well, it's because it's food that I don't usually have. That's why it tastes so different. And it's probably more the fact that you're sitting and you're being mindful, and you're being with your food, and you're being in the moment. And it could be something as simple as a hamburger. Yes, it could taste a little bit different when you travel just because they use different spices, but it's not going to taste that much different. No. You're just enjoying it more because you're being with it. And I think that is something that we have lost in our fast-paced, guzzle it down, gulp it down, get running, do things on our phone, in between different things that we're doing. Is we've lost mindfulness in a lot of parts of our lives. So I think that's, thinking mindfully about what we've been talking about. I think this is a great way to end this series. And we would absolutely love to hear comments. You can make comments on our websites when you are looking at either the blogs or the video logs. Make comments. Let us know. Is there something that you would like us to talk about? Because we want to be mindful of you, and we want to talk about what you need so that we can make sure that you're getting everything that you need from us and throughout your life. So.
Yeah. No, we would welcome those. In fact, sometimes that helps get our creative juices going as well. Because it's, it's sometimes difficult coming up with topics that are new or fresh. And sometimes, there's things that we know, we just didn't realize we haven't discussed it yet. So, and certainly there's things that we don't know, and we're more than happy to research those because we're nerds. So
we both have lots and lots of research papers in our houses and on our computers and everywhere. So,
it's my children's drawing material. That's their first.
Yep. You read it, you get done with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we want to thank you so much for joining us in this series. And we really do look forward to see what you guys would like in a new series that we can help you with.
Well, take care and have a great rest of your day and your week. We'll be hearing from you.